All right, another day, another stream. I forgot. But as I do that, some interesting things happened. Meta Connect was today, which means Llama 3.2 was released. And I haven't looked up anything about it, but I am very interested. I gotta be logged in. No, I don't. 3.2, small and medium-sized vision LLMs. 11 billion and 9 billion. Text-only models, 1 billion and 3 billion that fit onto mobile devices. So it'd be pretty cool to test this for schematic capture. So some possibility, I'll do a little bit of that. Let's see if we can get a chat going. Nice, okay. Okay, I think I have chat. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I wonder what people have done with 3.2. Image reasoning use case. Oh, document. Oh, all right. How do I play with it? Oh, they compared it to Claude and GPT-4, but not 4.0 full? I guess they did similar class models. Honestly, it doesn't look like that dramatically better, but what I found is that sometimes models, like Phi does incredible on documents. And I guess that's even showing up here. But let's see if it works. Is it running in here? Log in to save conversation history. I think I can run it. I don't know. I'm just going to assume that this is it. Let's look up some random schematic and see if Meta 3.2 can do it. You always got to keep an eye out for this kind of stuff. Maybe this one. This is kind of a hard one. We know they can read tables. That's not really a big deal. I'm thinking maybe this one is good. Ah, this one's better. I'm going to remove the text to make it harder. I'm just going to say, just paste this in. Oh, maybe not. Let's do a little bit of login. Nice. Okay, now I can do it. Describe this schematic in XML. What? What are you talking about? Just describe the schematic? Yo, what up, Copy Multi? Good to see you. I'm doing good. Yeah. It's kind of end of my day, 7 o'clock. I don't usually go as late as I did yesterday, so. Nothing compelling here. I don't know. I'll do a deeper dive into 3.2 a little bit later, because but that's not a great first try. I also am not 100% sure this is 3.2. A bit unclear. Yeah, I don't know. But that wasn't super compelling. Like a lot of other GPTs, you can give it something like that and they'll return stuff. So I do have a list of issues to work on, but I don't know if I'll tackle those or if I will do some stuff with the snippet server, because I'm really liking how that snippet server is coming along. This is our snippet server. Ooh, this is an old version. Let's see if we can get the new version going. Okay. Localhost 5173, the Vite ports. Yeah, this is the new version. We have to connect this to a backend to make it really work and then improve a little bit of the functionality. But I kind of like how this is coming out. Build login, stuff like that. Hide sidebar when you press that button. Yeah. So I'm reasonably happy with the UI. So now it's just kind of making it work with the backend. I like to start with UIs, kind of do UI-driven development. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty solid. So we might do the backend for that. That would be kind of fun. But I also have this big issue list, different things to tackle. Yeah, we actually did this part of it. So that's the snippet playground. Let's see what else we have. We can also work on the CLI. The way that circuits are built, how long you have to wait is really, really annoying. And there's no loading indicator or anything like that. So I feel like that's one that is really high ROI for me to do. I will never regret having a loader. I will love myself for doing that. The schematic implementation is being done by others, so that's not that great. Fixing auto routing, that's a little boring. That requires a lot of deep thought. I don't think that'd be too interesting to watch. Tutorials for making footprint or schematic symbols. Yeah, I discussed this in our contributor meeting this morning. I think there is a lot to do there, but I don't know. We have until the end of the month to do that because next month is Hacktoberfest. I'm told for Hacktoberfest you don't get t-shirts anymore. So, are you standing up? Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you. Peely3 gave me this shirt, so I appreciate it. I searched for localhost 5173 and it says this site cannot be reached. Yeah, that's because localhost is your local computer. Your local host name? I don't know. So this is only running on my computer. I think I could get it to run everywhere if I hooked it up to Vercel. So we could take like 5 seconds to do that so that you could visit this site. It's supposed to be connected to Vercel, so maybe it didn't deploy properly. Let's see. Got an error in deployment. If we fix the deployment, you could see it on snippets.tscircuit.com. Yeah, it's complaining about unused variables. This is I don't know why this happens, but for some reason, when you build on CI with Vite, it decides to be anal about unused dependencies. When I build on Vercel, Vercel build breaks because of unused variables. I'm just going to say that. Let's see. I think it might be a tsconfig option. But anyway, we should fix that. We want to deploy, startup style. You want to always be deploying. You don't want something like that, an unused variable, to get in your way. No unused locals. Let's say false. No unused parameters. False. This is probably it. Yeah, it's probably these. Okay, so we turn those off, so now it should be a little bit less anal. We can redeploy. Turn off tslinting. That stuff's fine, but you're not going to move as fast. Like if it even breaks one deployment, you didn't move as fast. And it's not killing anyone. Unused variables. They're saying it's the ESLint RC. I don't think I have an ESLint RC, so it's not that. So it's got to be tsconfig. And then they say it could be the tsconfig. So I think I got it. So we'll make sure that this guy gets deployed. That'll be a little easier to follow along because every time I push, this new interface will be up. So this interface lets you create circuits on the web. You can edit this thing over here and change it around. So for example, I could change this to a 1206 or 1208, I think is another common footprint. And then it should update. Oh, I think this view doesn't update properly. Oh yeah, look at that. We got a bunch of stuff. Cannot infer pad width. 1206. Oh, and I broke it. Yeah, so it's pretty buggy. Oh, no, it's because I shut down the Vite server. It is buggy, but that particular error is not so big of a deal. Okay, 1208. Can't find it, huh? That should be a supported footprint. 1208. Passive. I don't know. I forget how these are defined, so I don't know if I'll get to the bottom of resistor. Passive. So there's a passive function, because resistors, capacitors, they're all types. They're usually passive components. Always passive components. Yeah, so here's where we have them all defined. Am I just getting it wrong? 0805, 1206, 1206. Oh, I said 1208. Anyway, we can change this, and this should change the PCB. Yeah, now it's big. And then our footprint is hanging off, and it no longer matches the right size. Anyway, we want to make this a lot easier. So I think I'll play around with the back end for this. And then maybe we'll fix some other bugs, because this is kind of like not super core stuff. Snippets.tscircuit.com. Maybe it'll be important. Maybe it won't be. It's more of an experiment. All right. And I think it deployed to snippets.tscircuit.com. So you can now see it you can now actually play with it. Although, kind of interesting thing, the 3D models aren't loading. So that's interesting. That's a mystery to debug. It probably has some cores issue. Yeah, model CDN. It says it's blocked by cores because the access allow origin header has a value of localhost. I think that's actually a caching issue. I don't think that'll impact other people. I think that's just for me that's happening, because caching is really weird sometimes. All right. Anyway, time for the main thing. This is going to be a little bit weird. What we're going to do is create a fake server. We're not going to create the main server. We're going to create a fake one. And the reason for that is it's a lot easier for a front-end project to have access to manipulate the back-end database. You can run the full system, but it limits your testing and like your testing of specific scenarios and stuff like that. So we're going to use a fake, which is like an entire fake version of the API. Vite has a feature where you can proxy any request to like wherever to a different server. So we're going to use that feature. It's going to be pretty complicated, so strap in. So the first thing we're going to do is clone a server template. TSCircuit has a bunch of server templates. We're going to use one that uses winner spec. So I'm just going to search for templates. Template API fake. So we will use this and clone it into our project. And we'll call it fake snippets API. And eventually we'll have a real snippets API, but for now we just have a fake one. And then we're going to remove the Git directory from inside of this. And that way we can commit it as a... Ooh, I removed in the wrong place. Oof. Supposed to remove this one. Uh-oh. Ooh. That's not good. I don't know how to get that back. I've never removed... Man, I hope I pushed everything I was working on. I can't even do a git status. All right. Well, be careful when you're deleting the .git directories. That's fine. Move snippets. Snippets old. We're going to reclone. I don't know. I probably haven't made that mistake in like a long time. I can hear my girlfriend swearing in the other room. She's playing Death Stranding for the first time, and she seems very upset about something. Probably tripping and dropping all of the packages, because that game is a walking simulator. Death Stranding 2, though. Very exciting. Coming out soon. All right. I think we're all pushed up, probably. So let's do the same thing we just did, but let's do it a little better. Fake snippets API, and this time I'm going to go into that directory and then delete.get. So now I haven't completely messed up the source control. And when I do get status, it's saying, oh, you got to add this directory. I don't think I need to change this at all, except I don't like having multiple package JSON files. So I might want to port the dependencies. Let's see. Best way to do that. Let's just copy. Yeah, let's copy it all. Basically copy every dependency. I don't know why it requires next. That's kind of weird. Yeah, we don't need most of these. So we're going to copy these up to the root project. Man, front-end projects. What a mess. Because I don't know why we have any dependencies in a Vite project. I don't remember installing these too. I think shadcn installed all these. It's crazy. Shadcn is crazy how it works. I am very surprised it's so popular. I love it, but it should be a normal package. Like, look, it installs all these dependencies to your project. Why? Why complicate your project that much? Madness. Shadcn, absolute madness. I'm very thankful it exists, but like I'm so confused about why everything is the way it is. So we copied out the stuff for the fake here. How do we want to do this? This is so interesting. So we're going to have a build fake server, or we'll say fake API. Shorten it. Yeah. And we'll say dev fake API. This is going to be complicated. We're going to be in the weeds for a little bit as we set up this fake pattern. It is non-trivial. Most people don't do this, but makes life easier. Actually, this is a really weird project. Did I clone the right project here? Let me see. Things, create, lib, db. I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. All right. Production server URL. This is for OpenAPI generation, so it'll probably be like snippets.tscircuit.com/API eventually. And then instead of debug API, it'll be snippets API. I don't know. I don't know how it's all gonna spin out, but now our goal is to validate that we did this properly. We want to make sure that we can make API requests to like /health, the API endpoint /health. I do not understand some of this though. This looks like it's set up to deploy via next, which we're not doing, so I don't think we need that. Okay, I'm starting to understand. I think that one was set up to deploy via next, but we're not deploying this. This is just for local development. You ain't replying me. Yeah, I probably missed your message. I apologize for that. I was laser focused on figuring out this project structure. I apologize. I was not ignoring you intentionally. We just want to build a backend for this snippets API, but we want to do it in the right way. The way with the longest long-term ROI. Yeah, okay. Trying to think how I want to do this. Let's try to talk to the API in here. This will be our little test. Is we'll say use effect. And then we'll set up an interval where we just kind of call the health endpoint. /API/health. So we're just going to do this on an interval. Very sorry, copy multi. I'm sure I could go back to see your message somehow, but I have a really bad chat interface because it's like a multi-channel chat interface, so I have no idea how to go back, and I also have no idea how to use the YouTube chat feature or YouTube streaming features. I haven't tried. YouTube seems like a cool place to stream. I just haven't really done it. Let's see. We could do fetch, then r.json, and just log that response. So we should see a lot of errors in our console right now because the API is not hooked up. So let's see if we see that. We might also see might see some weird stuff. I closed the Vite server again. I keep forgetting that has to stay running. Let's open up a new terminal. Okay, so this should be making requests now. But it's not. Maybe because if it errors once, it doesn't do anything. We can catch the error. Make sure that's not an issue. There we go. Okay, so it looks like by default with Vite, it returns HTML from the health endpoint. So we want this to return whatever the health endpoint is supposed to return. ctx.json. So hopefully what I'm going to do, I know nothing about coding. Still, I'm here. Do you know why? Honestly, I like your personality. The way you smile and the way you speak is hell attractive. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, years of practice to hone in the attractiveness of my voice. But I gotta stop reading chat out loud. That's funny though. So what we want is this to return okay true. That's what it should return. What I'm going to try to do is configure Vite in development mode such that it uses the fake snippets API without actually starting a server at all, which is a pretty crazy pattern, but I think we can do it. So it all begins here in the Vite config. We're going to configure a proxy. And then we're going to say whenever you go to /API, we want to do some stuff. And this is where I might need to use AI because I don't really remember how this works. Intercept any request to /API/star and return a JSON object with okay true. Okay, interesting. Not what I expected because it set the target to localhost 3000. Yeah, it seems very strange. But I am curious because it does proxy res. Am I using the wrong? There's also the server option. What's going on here? You know what? I'm being a cowboy coder. Let's say how can I configure a Vite config ts file so that any request to /API* returns okay true. Huh. Server proxy. guess I put this in the wrong location. Too much cowboy coding. It's very strange that it has this target and then it points to itself. It's very strange. That should cause problems. That should cause an infinite loop. But I guess I do like how it's a lot simpler here. This will be cool if it works. Because now, you know, you just run Vite and everything magically works. That's pretty cool. If it works. I ran 2 Vite servers, so I gotta not do that. Okay, now we have 1. We should, yeah, there we go. Takes a second. Yeah, there we go. Okay, true. So already this is like a really, really cool technique, right? Because we've hijacked the Vite server and it clearly works. It returns HTML normally, but we've hijacked it such that we can return fake API responses. If you wanted to, you could proxy this to a production API and then use production locally. That's pretty cool too. But I'm going to use a fake. So, because that's a lot easier for contributors, because if they want to do stuff, they don't have to know how the database schema works and migrations and all of that. They can kind of just hack it in, and that's fine. Doesn't matter because it's just a fake of the real API. So the next part of this is going to get a little complicated. We have to compile our API into a bundle. And I think I need to run bun install to get WinterSpec. But we need to compile this into a bundle. So there's this build fake API thing, which seems like the right thing to use. Build fake API bundle. That's the output. And then it uses this config file. It's always weird when you have this weird multi-repo setup. WinterSpec config, so I just hoisted that to the top of the project. And then we'll say the routes directory is fake snippets API / routes. And then we can try to bundle it. Oh, I made this every 5 seconds. That's why it was taking so long to show up. Okay. Bun, run, build, fake, API. Bundled in 11 milliseconds. Wow, that's fast. Now we have this dist bundle.js that bundled all of our API endpoints together. And you can see it. It's kind of janky to read compiled code, but you can see it's exported this kind of like WinterSpec file with this make request method. So let's see if we can import that. Hopefully it works. I'm a little worried I don't see a TypeScript file, so I'm a little worried we don't have a TypeScript. But let's go back to our Vite config. Too many tabs. So we'll we'll import our WinterSpec bundle. Like that. Gonna find declaration file. Yeah, it's complaining about types. What if I just do bundle? What does that do? Root, TS, config, routes directory, platform output. Huh. Yeah, I don't remember how to get types for this. That's unfortunate. We'll do TS ignore on it for now. Man, how do you get types on that guy? And then we can do make request, and I believe this has the same arguments as fetch. So it should be easy to proxy the request through. So for now, what I'm going to do, no longer return so interesting. All this stuff is kind of jank, so I'm wondering what the best way to do it is. Let's go to the template here. So this is how it's ported to Next. You import the bundle, then you import get node handler. So let's do that exact same thing. Okay. And then we just give the handler request like that. We can rename this to fake handler. So we've compiled a server, we've bundled a server, and now we're trying to call it. So let's run Vite and see if that works. Failed to load config. Cannot find package immer. Okay. So let's wait for that health request. It's 404ing. It says not found. I think it's saying 404 not found because there's a base URL of /API that's not being incorporated into the bundle. But this guy doesn't have support for base name. Let's see. Does this have base name? Root directory. Let's check out the docs for winter spec. We can always modify the request and change the URL and omit the /API. The other thing we can do, which is ultra lazy mode, is go into routes and just add an API folder, which I kind of like because it's almost like it's kind of config-less. Okay, so now everything is in API. Let's do bun run build fake API, bun run start. Oh, proxy timeouts. That's interesting. I wonder if we're getting all the logs from Vite too. We might have to turn on like verbose or something. Log level info, I think, is the highest. I also don't really like loading the server every time, so I think I'm just going to set up a curl request to do our really basic call here. Localhost 5173/API/health. So that should trigger our proxy. Oh, it's working. So it should work here then. 5173. Oh, yeah. Huh. I just saw one. Yeah, okay, so we're proxying through. So now another interesting test we can run is I think there's like a things API. So can I do things list? Because that's like a longer URL. Kind of looks like that's not working. Oh, no, it did work. Why did it take so long? What? That's taking so long. Does health take that long? Why would that take so long? It does say HTTP proxy error a lot. Where's my byte config? There it is. So this says proxy request, and then this one says request. I wonder if I'm using the wrong request or something. It says it's not compatible. Client request. Huh. Why would it take so long? Okay, so what I'm going to do, or the health endpoint also takes a while, so let's simplify it. Health check received. And then we'll look at the console while we make this request and see if we get any logs. Oops. Failed to connect. Did I keep stopping this thing. All right. Oh, wait, it's fast now. What the heck? Okay, whatever. Is it slow again? Maybe there's a internal connect multiple. So if there's multiple proxy requests at about the same time, it has a problem. Yeah, I suspect that it that specifying the target as itself was causing problems. Yeah, it's just weird. I almost want to do this without a proxy. Looks like it'll work, but is there a way to... Let's see. Did I... Yeah, I didn't tell them I wanted a proxy. It just added the proxy in there. Is there a way to do this without a proxy? Maybe. Let's find out. I don't see that middleware mode true, and then do I get middlewares? Is it some fancy type? I don't think so. Middleware mode. Create a Vite dev server to be used as a middleware in an existing server. What? But there is a property middleware mode. Oh, that's not what we want. Plugins. Okay. It's saying I can use plugins, and then I can do server.middleware.use. I guess it uses Express internally or something. I'm just going to give it this and say, can you adapt this Vite config to that approach? Because we've made a little bit of progress. I think this is like minimally usable. It's not great, but it's minimally usable. Let me make sure there's no junk in here. Okay. Checkpoint, minimally usable fake API system. The next best, so right now we have to build into this bundle, but you should be able to do this without building into the bundle. So that's the next thing to do. If we can figure this out, we can try to do it without building. But also, building isn't that big of a deal. I don't care that much. It's a little annoying. Whenever you have a build step, people get confused. So, okay. It adapted this. I don't like the word mock. It's not the right word. Fake is the right word because we have black box behavior. Okay. Looks good. Looks good. API fake plugin. And no more proxy. I've never made a Vite plugin. Pretty easy. If that's all you got to do, pretty easy. Like Vite more and more, even though it's a roll-up thing. I think they're creating something called roll down, something like that. So they're fixing all the roll-up problems. I think it's working. Let's see if we can get any delay. That's pretty awesome. I'd definitely make a Vite plugin. That's awesome. And now we don't have any jankiness. Love it. Good job, Vite. Good job. That's pretty cool, right? Like, you want to mock your API or whatever? This is awesome. You don't have to use all that winter spec stuff, but I like it, so I can use it. Cool. Adapt to Vite plugin. Fixes weird delay issues. You know what's interesting, though? I wonder if this impacts build at all. When this goes to build, it'll be interesting to see if Vercel still deploys this project. Okay, so a really good thing to do would be to make it so that you don't have to build the bundle. I'm going to take a look at that for like 5 seconds, just because it'll make our development so much easier if we dynamically load routes. The other thing that's a little sketchy is I'm kind of skeptical that the state is well kept. So we might need to do something where we configure, like, I'm not sure if we edit things, if they'll persist. So we will want to take a look at that. Let's see, what exports do we have from winter spec here? Maybe I'll just read the docs. And unfortunately, this library isn't AI analyzed yet. Let's see. I love that. I love that for me. No build step required. So we do this, server fetch, and then the directory is fake snippets API / routes. Okay. But unfortunately, a fetch function isn't compatible. Do we have a... Let's see, create winter spec bundle from directory. I think that'll work better. Nice. And then and then we can use our existing stuff. So this should, I'm going to delete the dist directory. This should make it so we don't need to build anymore. And then nobody will complain to me, why doesn't it work? And then I'll go, did you build it? And etc. Okay. So everything should work the same now. Oh. Vite didn't like it. Cannot find package fake snippets API. Where? Winter spec dist, create winter spec. It doesn't like, I guess, the dynamic import, something like that. That's unfortunate. Yeah, we could also use the start server thing. Oh, that's so unfortunate. We're so close. So it's literally just that file. If I run vite config ts, it works. So why wouldn't it work when I run bun run vite? This is the only place it's mentioned. Yeah, that works. So it must be this line. Whatever this is doing internally, maybe a dynamic import, doesn't like it. Does tsconfig include it? Tsconfig should include it. Oh, actually, there's 2 tsconfigs. That's never good. Let's get rid of that. It's actually like 4 tsconfigs because of how vite default configure this. Yeah, it's saying only include source, so that's a little sketchy. Let's not do that. Let's include the fake snippets API. I don't know if that'll fix it, but tsconfig paths are pretty important. Oh, interesting. In the node one. Oh, Oh. This terminal crashed, I guess. Oh, now it runs. Huh. So must I don't know, maybe let me just double check everything. Yeah, no, we're still failing. Okay. Can I find package fake snippets API? Do I really want to debug this forever? Well, how about this? It only takes 11 milliseconds to build, so we will just make it so it always builds whenever you start the Vite server. And then if anybody complains, I'll just say, restart the server. Okay, so before we run Vite, we're going to run build fake API. Okay, that should do it. We're going to remove the dev command because we're not using it. Although could be cool to try to use that dev command later because that would allow us to not have to restart things. But can I find package lib? What? Oh man, I had this all working. What did I do? I don't get it. Okay, let's try not doing anything. Spawn. Okay, so Vite's fine. Oh, okay. Interesting. Maybe it's my tsconfig changes. Oh man, I don't know. I want to remove this file. I don't understand what it is. It's a temporary file. Oh man. It's always with Vite. Always with Vite. All right. Ah, man, this is basically working. I wonder what I did. It's just the import that's causing the problem here. Yeah, because that works. Let's try opening up that, importing that bundle file in a REPL. Oh, interesting. It's like this bug. Cannot find module. Maybe that TS, maybe the one I deleted was the important one. Why are they so stingy with these? If I just do lib. Actually, you know what it is? This path. This absolute path here, lib/middleware. That's the problem. If I did a type check, this would work. But it was resolving this correctly before because, yeah. Huh. Okay. Interesting. So it was resolving this correctly before because we had another TS config with the path aliases, but then we didn't. So yeah, fixing this is just doing that. Right? Fake snippets API / that should resolve now. Unless this is being overridden here. Because shadcn made me do some weird things. Things I regret. Is this going to work now? Fake snippets API. Fake snippets API. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, everything looks good. Cannot find module. I mean, there is like an easy, like I could use the absolute path. It's a little bit janky. Something I've been wondering is how do these TS configs play together? It says references and then it has a path to both of these. Does that mean that they're applied in that order? And how do they override? Do the includes add together? And then the other thing is it a problem that this isn't included? Do I just need to add this here? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, let's keep running some experiments. So if I remove these paths, this still works, right? Yeah. Huh. So I think you only need to specify it once, and TypeScript does some, tsconfig does some like merging. Maybe I'll break more things. Well, I learned something. And that's a little bit cleaner, less messy TS configs. Okay. Little detour. Now it should work if I fix all the imports, because we still have this like lib thing. It's really mad. Yeah. So it's going to be a ton of type issues related to that. Let's see. Yeah, these ones. Cursor's not helping me out. Fake API. Was it fake snippets API? Just keep adding those. This would be the last place, and there's nothing there. Maybe the DB. Nope, DB's good. Schema's good. Okay. Build systems. We'd love to hate them. Okay, let's build our bundle. So type checking would have gotten us out of that a lot quicker. All right, 9 milliseconds. Let's run start. Okay, everything seems to be working now. See if we can curl our API. Ooh, that's not right. That means it did not call our winner spec API, but I think I know why. I think I was commenting out stuff. So let's put that back in. Do this. Yeah, now it's saying cannot find package fake snippets API. So maybe if it has the .node extension, it works like that. Which means we also need to copy the paths out. So I guess with Vite, I guess I could have just looked up docs and figured this out, but I guess with Vite, the node tsconfig is loaded by the config, and the tsconfig.app.json is loaded by the app. Or not. Cannot find package fake snippets API in our Vite config here. I wonder if it's a problem that's not loading dist either. Weird. So now it works when it's in here. I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, is it because I'm using bun? Oh, oof. Oh my gosh. It's too much. So that's not even used, this tsconfig. So can I delete this? I'm going to do a checkpoint just because it's working. All right. So checkpoint, reconfigure tsconfig. And I think it's not even being used because I use bun. Let's see. Bun run start. Why did they even put in 2 tsconfigs? Yeah, I don't even think it's used. Oof. Oh my gosh. Why? Why? You know? Just use one tsconfig. I'm pretty sure I could replace the main tsconfig and we'd be fine. But whatever. We can delete this now. Whoops. This should still work. All right. That's working. Cool. I think we can probably start our API design now. So remove unused tsconfig. Hopefully Vercel still builds. That's kind of the big question here. If after all that... Ooh, it's not. Let's see. Oh, it's complaining about type errors inside of the fake snippets API. We haven't fixed all the type errors in there, so that's fine. That's not super tricky to fix. Easier than a build issue. Although when I run tsc no emit, it doesn't do anything. And I feel like it's because of this thing. I don't know. I kind of want to just put this back to one tsconfig. It just feels so useless, this whole thing. Source, fake snippets API. Yeah. So we should have type errors now. Yeah, we have type errors now, which makes sense. But does our Vite server run? Yeah, and our Vite server runs. Why did they introduce two TS configs? I don't get it, man. I don't get the defaults on that one. That was like a huge headache, and it was because they threw in two TS configs, and one was like not used because I mean I bootstrapped this with bun, so it shouldn't have. I don't know. Oy vey. All right. Consolidate to one TS config. Let's see what else we got. Can we start designing the API now? I think we're ready. We're gonna fix type issues. Take 5 seconds to do that. Do some API design. Just redeploy on Vercel. It works sometimes in the case of mono repos. I don't think it'll fix the type error because we have type errors. That's not something that is probably going to be fixed by. I think like if you don't understand, I don't know. Have you seen that a lot? Vercel's pretty good in my experience. Like if I, have an app that fails, it's usually not going to pass on a rerun. I don't know. I could be wrong. Also, welcome, Karen. Good to have you here. Karen, all the way from YouTube. Fix type errors. And maybe our Vercel deploy will work. But I don't really care that much about that at the moment. I just care that development works. Yeah, because we can figure out Vercel later. It looks like it got further, right? These ones took 14 seconds. This one's going on 30. It takes 50 seconds to do a prod deploy, so it's probably good. Usually it fails faster. Wow, what feature should we build first? I kind of wanted to build snippet saving first. We don't even have a save button currently, but I thought that might be a fun place to start. I was trying to figure out how saving should even work. Yeah, and this has also got a ton of buttons. So I'm also like, do we really need more buttons? I guess while you have room, just keep shoving them in there. But yeah, it's getting a little messy. And this one is a sub menu with a ton of stuff too. But yeah, I think a save button maybe on this side. And then if you have unsaved changes, it could be like unsaved changes. Is that how people would do it? I feel like people would want it to autosave. And then you could view all the versions you saved or something like that. That's basically how Gist works on GitHub, right? When you create it, let's say I want to edit this Gist. I have to actually, you can't even edit by default, but this is the editor, so you will be able to edit by default. And then you do update. So we should assume at this point, if they're in this view, this is literally the editor view. So like this should be highlighted. So I think if we just have a save button, that should be enough. For some reason, I'm really feeling the right side too, rather than the left side. I don't know. So let's add a save button, and then we'll try to save it to the database, and then we'll just kind of design the API as we need to from that. Probably going to use React Query. I like React Query, and this is a client-only project. There's no fancy SSR stuff for this one. I definitely could have done fancy SSR stuff, but I did not. Okay, React Query. Oh, duplicate dependency. Interesting. Zod. Duplicate dependency. Okay. So we've got React Query. And then let's get pretty explicit about it. Like, let's make a very explicit hook here. So use save snippet. And then we can also do use snippet. But that one's a little weird because we do want to enable real-time editing. Okay, we can still call it that. Write a React query. Or write a hook. I'm just telling AI what to do. Write a hook that uses React query to get, let's call it /API/snippet/get. With snippet ID, or let's say that this thing is the snippet name. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's see what that does. It might use like an old version of React query or something. Also, it's like loading in these junk snippet parameters. So we'll use Zod to keep our types in sync. We'll define a snippet somewhere in our schema. Snippet schema, and then what do we want to say? It has a snippet ID. It has a snippet name. Yeah, and then content. Yeah, I have really weird or very structured naming conventions. So name and ID are used a lot across objects, so they get a prefix, but content kind of isn't. There's not that many things with content, but a lot of things have a name and an ID. And they're also not used to reference things. So if it's not referencing anything, it's kind of just a value. We'll also have created at, which I guess is a string or a date time or something like that. And then we'll export that type. Yeah, okay. That works. And then our database. So we're kind of defining our database with Zod here. This is the cool thing about having a fake in your client is you can kind of define the database without too much effort. You don't really have to think about too much. And now we can import that snippet type. And that'll ensure that we're totally in sync. We don't use Axios, we use red Axios for this project. Looks pretty good. Gotta love it. I hate this pattern though. Okay. Feels good to be writing normal TypeScript code, you know? Normally I'm doing like all this circuit stuff. This is easy stuff. Okay. So use save snippet. Let's man, we kind of need this. There's a bunch of things we need now that I think about it. I think we have to design the URL structure a little bit. What does Valtown do for their URL structure? These guys are great. Big fan. Can't wait to get TS Circuit working with this. Let's see what they do. So if I click on one of these, we know how GitHub, I think, does something really dumb where there's just an ID in the URL. What do these guys do? These guys use the name in the URL. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Thank you. I was on mute. I wonder how long I was on mute. I don't know how that keeps happening. But thank you for bringing it up. I'm going to have to watch back this stream and see how long it was. Appreciate it. Yeah, my mic has a very capacitive, sensitive mute button. You can't, you still 100%? Are you sure? I don't think so. I think it's coming through. Got me paranoid. Could check it out. Hello, hello. Testing. I gotta wait for myself to Oh, I should have been speaking while I did this. I gotta wait for myself to Nice. Yeah, sorry about that. I have no idea how that keeps tripping up. Maybe there is like a lock indicator on this mic, so maybe I need to make that work. Not sure. Maybe just touch the mic class. Thank you for saying something, though. You know, talking to myself, empty room for hours. All right, code and preview. So what I was worried about was this kind of breaking. I think what I want to do is have a little bit of a hack. Let's see. So I'm using this new router I've never used before called Wouter for this project. It's supposed to be kind of popular, recommended by ChatGPT. Is a very, very small router, and I kind of liked the simplicity of it. So maybe we can give this guy a try. We're building a website, snippets.tscircuit.com. It lets you write React code and then visualize it. So you can edit the code over here, and it generates a circuit in a 3D PCB view. Then you can download it and get it manufactured. So we're building that. But we have been doing a lot of plumbing, like getting random stuff to work, I would say. So a little bit of plumbing going on. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to not break snippets.tscircuit.com when we don't have the server developed. I think what I might do, I think like maximum laziness, I'm just going to turn off the deployments. And that way there's something there and it won't auto deploy while I develop this next part. I think that's easiest rather than like trying to figure something else out. It's just not worth it. Okay, so when our snippet isn't loaded, it's going to this loading state. And then that's 404ing against our server. So we have to introduce that endpoint. So let's go ahead and do that just to get this queued up here. Snippets. Okay, and then I'm going to copy this endpoint. Understand the structure of this. So this framework winner spec is a way to define type safe APIs. So JSON response, and we give it a Zod schema. So from this endpoint, we're going to return a snippet. And then we're going to use our pre-built schema object, which is in our database directory. So we should have a snippet schema object. Yeah. And that's kind of it for the definition of the route endpoint. Oh, I guess it has inputs too. So we'll say it has common parameters, which is saying you can use post on it. That's how I like endpoints, where you can use get or post. It's HTTP RPC style. So you can do snippet ID or you can do snippet name, but you have to do one of them. So we can use a union type for that. I'm going to be a little bit lazy because sometimes union type is a little bit wonky. I'm going to do this, and then we'll throw an error instead. But that should do it. Yeah, that should do it. I don't know why this is any typed. I don't know if that's important. Yeah, it shouldn't be. So I should have a database I can access. Request.db. No, C context DB. Yeah. Then I should be able to get my snippets. Yeah. So we just need to find the snippet. Let's get out the parameters too. Whoops. I can't read this as I'm typing it. I'm just typing away and then seeing if it's right after. Okay, then if we get our snippet, return snippet. So the behavior when there is no snippet, it should definitely do a 404. I think that's what it's complaining about. I think it's saying this could be undefined. So we'll say if not snippet. I think we need to add an error method, but we could do error snippet not found status 404. Maybe that'll work. I think I'm going to anycast this for now. I can't remember how to do errors with this framework, but also I like when errors are an object, has a message, so that way you can put metadata inside of it if you have like errors that you need to do control flow on. Okay. Yeah, it seems pretty good. In this case, it should still 404, but now it should give us a nice error. So let's see if that works. I have to run start again. I don't know if we're getting any response. 500 internal server error. Okay, what's going on? Error while parsing JSON body. Yeah, I think this is because WinterSpec is kind of buggy. I kind of want to fix this upstream. Error while parsing JSON body. And then it's this with input validation method. That seems pretty easy to chase down. Let's see if we can fix that upstream. Okay, there's a lot of complicated types in this package. Yeah, I mean, look how long this file is. Super long. Very complicated types. So I wonder if we have a source map that tells us where this is failing. It says line 145 of the JS code. I don't know. We can take a look because sometimes it mixes up JS extensions and stuff like that. I don't think so, though. That line looks pretty tame. Any other indicators? Nah, basically nothing. So we kind of don't know. Error while parsing JSON body. We got something there. That's why I hate TypeScript. I think it's a problem with this module. If you have good source maps, it shouldn't be a problem, but this module is really complicated and it's got a lot of issues. Yeah, I kind of want to rewrite this, but I don't know. So much logic. So much logic, and then some very basic things don't work. So it looks like it does request.clone.json, and that's what's failing. I know that bun recently. Wonder if I update my bun version. I think I was one version behind. I don't know. I don't know if updating my bun version will fix this. Because bun did have an issue with the request.clone. I don't think so. Wait, bun upgrade. Yeah. Okay, I was one version behind, so maybe it's fixed. Could be a bun issue. No, still getting it. Error while parsing JSON body. Let's see what's going on. I do have a feeling it's with this clone thing, though. Oh, but actually, it shouldn't be calling that because I think this logic is just wrong. If not, input.json body is optional. Should be something like that. But interestingly, by extension, if I do JSON body z.ne.optional or something like that, it should fix it over here too without me having to patch the upstream dependency. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, huh. Interesting. So we'll do both. We'll patch the upstream dependency. It's an easy bug. Fix with input validation not working with common params. Apparently this isn't a bun project either, so I guess my bun lock B file is kind of not the thing. So I'll remove that, do npm install, make sure that any updates there are good, and then I'll do a PR to this project. Okay. I didn't really change anything there though, so it's kind of all unnecessary. All right. Support common params. I complained about this code, but then I was also able to contribute to it in like 5 seconds. So I don't know. Maybe it's okay. The source map is messed up though, for sure. Okay, it's going to run a bunch of tests on node 20, which I think is end of life soon. Node 20 end of life. Nah, it's got 2 years. Cool. So we got the 404. I think it's because we created, the reason we got the 404 is because we kind of like created this snippet out of thin air. So maybe we need a flag like create if not exists. If, what's the correct grammar here? I also don't like, I feel like the name of this route should be different if it's doing that. Use current snippet ID. Maybe it should just create a snippet. I feel like it's a little cleaner if it creates a new snippet. So let's do it to have the server always be responsible for creating UUIDs. But it does complicate this method a little bit. So instead of returning string, we're going to return string or null. So sometimes we won't return a snippet. And then yeah, snippet ID, URL params. Yeah, we need to do some complicated stuff here. So I think the simplest way to do it is to have snippet ID as a state variable. And we'll still do use memo for this part. And we'll call this the URL snippet ID. Oh, actually, there's a one-liner for it, I guess. I don't mind that. Oh yeah, this was weird, actually. That shouldn't have worked. Wait, a hook and a hook? Maybe that's a new feature. Is that? Yeah, that's a little weird. I don't know how that worked. I guess this this hook doesn't use any hooks internally, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so we have the URL. That'll be the default. URL snippet ID or null. And then we'll have a use effect. That has an async function inside because we need to call things, create snippet. If not snippet ID, or if we do have a snippet, we're going to return. If we don't, we'll execute. And yeah, snippets create. Exactly. Perfect. There's better ways to do this with React Query, but this is really simple. Probably won't backfire. Okay, let's delete this. And then we'll return snippet ID. Cool. I like that. So now we just need to implement snippets create. So we'll do create.ts. I'll paste this, modify this to be /API/snippets/create. Snippet should have, let's just give it the file. So I think I can do files schema, so that understands the format. We still kind of don't know if our server is stateful, so we'll have to fix that if it's not. This is a good implementation. Super great. Oh, love it. I love it. Better than what I would have done, for sure. I don't know if this is legal to do snippets.push because the database is supposed to be immutable. Oh yeah, this doesn't exist anymore. What is this? Add thing. Oh, these are the methods. So yeah, add snippet. Yeah. I don't know. Am I I'm not using an immutability framework here, so it might be fine. I don't see an immutability framework in use, so I'll be super lazy. We still don't need this add thing method, but the nice thing about this add thing method is it kind of tells you how things are supposed to work. So yeah, state.things, and yeah. Okay. Just so that we remember how that works. So yeah, this should work. So we're getting a 4 because there's a snippet ID in the URL. So we have to remove the snippet ID, and then we get the call to create. So that's good. But we're getting a 500 internal server error again. So let's see what's going on. Caught unhandled HTTP exception thrown by WinnerSpec provided middleware. Consider adding create. Oh, interesting. Create with default exception handling. Yeah, let's do that. Ooh, I don't know if that exists. Or maybe it does with WinnerSpec. Maybe it's defined in here. Supported array should validate responses. Doesn't exist. Looks like I got a... maybe I put it in here. Create with... Yeah, there we go. Log when, include stack traces in response. I like that. Who is Blood talking to? Blood talking to ghosts. Who, me? Yeah, basically. I mean, I don't know, man. I think some people watch these in post, but a lot of times, yeah, just me talking to myself, doing some dev. Maybe I was zoning out though. I think I was getting into it. Maybe that was just like my brain just spouting out what's in my head, you know what I mean? That is definitely possible. Just mumbling. Okay, so it complained we weren't using post, so that's easy to correct. Also, I don't really see the body here, so we gotta give it a little bit of a body, which means we gotta do this. Using fetch kind of sucks. Do we have Axios? I think we have Axios. Do the old Axios.post. I don't know if this requires anything. Let's see. Create snippets, snippet name, optional content. Let's also make that. We could put in some default stuff. Let's see. Default code for blank page. Love it. So we should get a snippet back. Can just destructure it out. Yo, what up, Nikhil? From YouTube. Cannot set property ID counter of object, which only has a getter. Yeah, I was kind of worried about that. You're not really supposed to, with Zustand, just like mess with its properties. You're supposed to do stuff like, yeah, so basically it's complaining about these lines. So you're not really supposed to mutate a Zustand database. You do all this and the QA person be like, bruh, this color does not match the requirements. Yeah, true that. True that. Yeah, I haven't worked with a QA person in like 10 years, so I actually have no idea. It's been a long time. I do my own QA. Highest quality bar right here. Okay, let's see. I'm like being extra careful not to mute again. So let's just do what we were supposed to do and create an add snippet method. And we'll ask AI to create that for us. So if we go to schema, no. DB client, I guess. Create an add snippet button. I think it uses content in my tab, so it should know what's going on. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. It says argument of type state. What is this? What? I don't know about that. Oh, for some reason, I think it is saying snippets doesn't match the database. What is this? Yeah, all right. Just some weirdness with imported types. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that should fix it. Okay, so we successfully created a snippet, but my guess is it didn't persist because then in the next thing it says snippet not found. Snippet 1. Yeah, it can't find it after. So I think our database isn't persisting because this entire server is created in the Vite config, so we didn't set up persistence properly. So what we can do is create some custom middleware, I think. Request, context, next. Yo, what up, lanky moose codes? You're gonna have to dumb down that emoji for me. I have no idea what that emoji is. I feel like we're in the thick of it again, guys. I don't know about the quality of it. Oh, it's a person waving. I don't see it. I see it. It's like a head and an arm. I get it. Appreciate it. I saw Conan talking about he was talking about what his guests should never say. He was talking about this, and he said that they should never say, "Oh, this isn't going well," because it insults the audience, because then they think they're not getting a good show. So, when I say, "Oh, we're kind of in the weeds. Oh, this might not be the most entertaining thing," I'm kind of falling into this trap. But at the same time, I mean, we're just doing like state management middleware. I don't know, guys. It's a thing. It's a thing you got to do. The best stream is when you have an AI writing tons of code and we're all just kind of seeing what it does, and it does a ton of stuff for us. That is my favorite kind of stream. But today we're kind of just messing with the framework. I think when I upload this video, because the AI that I have do my transcription puts a ton of stuff on it, I think people can look at these when they run into a specific problem. If somebody was trying to set up WinterSpec, this would be one of the best videos ever. They'd probably watch it. They'd be compelled. They'd be like, oh, the statefulness, that's how you set it up. So maybe some value in those post things, but otherwise it is good to have you people here chatting and whatnot, because otherwise it is a lot of self-talking, which is also okay. So that's my rant. Thanks for listening. Cannot find package fake snippets API. We had a little bit of this problem earlier, where it didn't like to resolve our paths, and how we fixed it was having a TS config that used this path. How long have I been working on TS circuit? I think I've been working on TS circuit, the org, in my free time for like 3 years or something. But I've only been working on it full time for like 6 months-ish. So pretty cool. I'm able to work on it all day. And it's getting mostly solid, I would say. We just ordered our first keyboard. So we created a keyboard with TS Circuit, and that is going to come in the mail hopefully very soon. You never know with shipping, But yeah, hopefully very soon we have our first keyboard. Yeah. I will. I'm also getting a little bit of a lab space in SF, maybe. So I'll also be able to show hopefully some stuff in the electronics lab, doing things like trying to put together pieces or whatever. So hopefully more stuff. Ideally, what I hope this live stream graduates to is every day I create a new circuit, and then each one of those, you can't, the problem with circuits or electronics is you create them and then you have to wait a while for them to come in, for all your components to come in, stuff like that. So the design and the seeing the physical thing and holding it actually takes like a week, at least a week, usually 2 weeks. And so I'll probably do one of the steps, either assembling and testing and all that, or a lab day and then a design day, and I'll alternate between those. But hopefully, ideally I could do one circuit a day. Might have to do half of a circuit a day if it does go that way. All right, so now that we have a database, we can just throw that on the context, and now that should persist the database because this is only called once. And it's complaining. I'm just going to anycast this. So that should work. Going to make YouTube video shorts. Ideally. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you guys love my voice, I also run a podcast called electronics.dev. So we're doing shorts and stuff for this as well. Somebody liked my post. It's wonderful to see. You love to see it. Brother, your mic is fire. Thank you very much. I always use dynamic mics. Very important to have a good mic, you know, especially, you know, I don't like to bring it up, but as a man, our voices are a little deeper. So we need special attention. We need special mics. This is a little weird. The page is loading, which means everything worked, but the snippet ID isn't in the URL. But you can see that we are actually getting the snippet we created in our database. So this is actually a huge bit of progress. Our server is now working. I kind of went through it really slow, but it's now working. So now we can make it so that parts of our snippet display on the page properly. And we also can add the save button and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, let's do it. So this created the snippet, but I guess it didn't set the snippet in the URL. Set the snippet ID get parameter in the URL. Oh, AI is so good at stuff like that. So hard to memorize those lines too. Excuse me. Okay, cool. So now the snippet ID is in the URL. The snippet name, you know what? I guess snippets have, now that I think about it, snippets have kind of, what I don't like about snippet name, there's going to be author. It's author name and snippet name, and I'm worried that people will be confused if the snippet name should include the slash or not. So how can I make that variable name better? You know what I mean? Now everything's erroring, but if I comment this out and reload, and it should load, unless I broke too much. Let's see, did I break too much? Snippet not found. I think when I change things in Vite, the persistence breaks. Anyway, is this the name or is this full thing the name? How can I disambiguate that? I could do full name. How does GitHub do this? Let's just ask Claude. What's the schema for a repo API JSON API response from the GitHub API? I think they do a thing that clears it up. They do so many weird things. So they do full name and name. And then they do owner. They do owner instead of author as well, which is interesting. Huh. Very interesting. Owner name. And we're going to make that not optional now. Yeah, owner ID is also important, but I'm going to skip it. Say full snippet name. And then I kind of want to not use snippet name as the other parameter because it's not fully disambiguated. It's only partially disambiguated. So how can I do this right? Could do short snippet. You could do snippet name without owner. I don't really like it though. All right, fine, we'll do it. snippet name. Probably regret it though. And then when we create a snippet, I think we're going to want to give the owner name. That'll be the logged in person. Or we could do a non. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't require an owner. I don't know. Should people who aren't logged in be able to save snippets? Probably not. I'll use my name as placeholder. Yeah, it's probably okay. So then this should be full snippet name here. Yeah. Okay. I like it. I like it. So snippets create. Let's take a look at that. Make sure we're creating these snippets properly. We're not. It wants more properties. Untitled snippet, some number. Yeah, we need to require owner name now. Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do that. All right. Nice. Okay. Shouldn't have any errors. Oh, this failed. This is the thing we did earlier. What it fell? I think it might have aged out. Like this might be an emergent thing. Let's see if it passed in the past. Yeah, it was passing before. This is 1 month ago it was passing. I don't know. I don't think it was our change. It could have been the lock file change. I bet it was the lock file change. Let's get rid of that. Delete file. Will delete file delete it from this PR? Or will it delete it permanently? Like, yeah, I think it full deleted it. Actually, I don't know what it did. All right, whatever. I'll have to revert that later. We'll have to figure out what's going on. Cool. So we should be creating snippets. Yeah, unknown snippet because of the Vite server restart. Okay, cool. This name is still wrong, but when we create this snippet and we get it back, we do get new properties. So the server's working as expected. But let's load in the proper snippet name right there and start to actually connect this data together. So if we go to code and preview, which I think is the file with the snippet there, and then in editor nav, let's see, do we just want to give it the full snippet? Maybe we just give it the full snippet. It's very nice to be able to share these odd types between our server and our client. Cool. Yeah. I think that's pretty great. And then here we do snippet.fullname. Vite server restarted a million times, so yeah, new thing. Oh, it's not loading in there. Huh. Snippet full name, sevi bar / undefined. Well, I don't like that. Snippet name is that. What the heck? Oh, yeah. It's kind of easy stuff. Okay, we'll do that. So that'll fix the snippet name not loading in, or loading in with undefined. but it will not fix. Use snippet. I think this is just an unfortunate thing about the data. I have to do data.snippet there. Yeah, there we go. Sevi ibar undefined. So it's loading our previous data, but if we load new data, oh yeah, we have to rebuild the server. Whoops. Well, still worked. Untitled snippet 2. So we are starting to load data with our fake server. So the plan is, make this whole thing work with our fake API. And then once we feel good about the endpoints, we'll convert it into the real API. So that's kind of how you work with a fake and a UI to put it together. I think we'll do saving next time. And then we'll do some of these other pages, like the newest page, stuff like that. So we'll sort by newest snippets. And maybe the dashboard where you can create things. Shouldn't be too bad. And then we need a preview page too, I think. And then we need the new pages. So make it really easy for people to create new snippets. But one step at a time. I think that's pretty good for a small session. Thanks for joining. If you like these dev streams, go to blog.tscircuit.com and then go to dev streams. And then I think if you click on one and you go down here, you can subscribe if you like these dev streams. But with that, see you later. Thanks a ton for joining.